Ciao chitarristi, siamo tornati qui negli studi di Henning al 42 Gear Street. Con me c'è non so chi sia, lui non sa cosa io sto dicendo. Who are you? And you know that Andrew joined the room. Thank you, Andrew, for being with me for this video. If you want to introduce yourself to Italian people.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Bena. I am a YouTuber, I guess you would say, who does guitar demos, focusing primarily on dumb things like this with 7, 8, or 9 strings usually, and I also play in a deathcore band called Carcosa.
Lascio comunque un po' di link qui sotto in descrizione così potete vederli. Se i video fatti con persone come lui vi piacciono, lasciate un bel like, commentate, magari datemi suggerimenti, ditemi con chi fare i video così poi li facciamo. So Andrew, since you are the guy for 8 and 9 strings guitar, you are perfect for this video. We can start with the 7 strings.
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
Yeah. What are the main difference for you between the 6th string and the 7th string?
Well, the obvious one is the extra string, so you can tune a little bit lower. Usually for 7-string guitars, I'm not sure if this one is like this, but normally the scale length is a little bit longer as well, which kind of helps those like low notes sound a bit better, so you don't have to get a ridiculously thick string.
Yeah, okay.
In my opinion, the thicker your string is, the more close it's going to sound to a bass guitar, which in my opinion is kind of undesirable. I like a guitar to sound like a guitar, which is maybe kind of ironic saying that with this tuning, but you know what I mean. Like there's still a difference in tone between a guitar and a bass. Usually a lower tuning and a longer scale length are typically the 3 main differences.
Ok, quindi per lui la chitarra a 7 corde, vabbè, ovviamente a parte la 7ª corda in più, si parla soprattutto di tensione delle corde, perché è vero si può andare su accordature molto basse, però la cosa importante per lui è che comunque suoni come una chitarra, che ha perfettamente senso visto che stiamo suonando la chitarra. Actually the scale of this guitar is 25.5, so it's pretty standard.
So 7 strings are kind of weird in the way that sometimes they'll be baritone, meaning longer than 25.5, or sometimes they'll be standard, which is usually 25.5 or 24.75 or whatever. You can get them both ways. Most people prefer it a bit longer, but for people that play a lot of leads, they don't like that because the frets are farther apart, it's harder to play up here. But if you're mostly on the low end, it's kind of better. Pick your poison, really.
Yeah,
One or the other.
You have to find the right balance between
depending on what kind of player you are, which is actually, sorry if you don't mind saying, which is why things like this are desirable, because it's a fan fret, so it has both, right?
Yep.
So your high frets are still close together and your low ones are farther apart.
Yeah, we will go deep when
we'll get to that. Yeah.
When I picked the 7-string guitar, for me, the first things that came in my mind is the music that inspired me to play 7-string guitar. That is alcune corde music. For example, for riff like this kind of riffs, and this is B standard tuning.
Okay.
So this is not drop. It sounds full. It's a full sound, but it's not too low. But at the same time, it's clear.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I go a lot lower. Ironically, like this is almost a full octave lower than that. And you're definitely right to some extent. Like it is, the way that I use it is more of like an effect, I would say, where for a lot, especially for deathcore, like it's more just supposed to sound just way over the top and ridiculous, almost to the point where sometimes it doesn't even matter what note it is. It just sounds like it's like it's kind of ridiculous. There is a way to make it clear as well, but it definitely is a little tricky when you're recording because you're basically in the same frequency range as a bass guitar more or less. So it gets a little tricky to balance those two things. But like I was saying, that's kind of why I like having the longer scale length and the thinner strings, because it doesn't sound like the same instrument, so they do both complement each other nicely. But it gets a little weird because then what you're gonna have to start doing at a certain point is your bass guitar and your guitar are actually in the exact same tuning. So normally your bass guitar is an octave lower, and when you're doing that, like you can tune your bass lower than this, but it gets a little so you just have to kind of treat the way that you're mixing or writing music a little bit differently perhaps than you would in pretty much any other type of music. So it's a little weird for sure.
Ok, quindi la cosa che rende così tanto diverse le chitarre 8-9 corde soprattutto è che andando così tanto in basso rischiano di contrastare un po' il suono appunto del basso, perché le accordature normalmente su una chitarra standard rispetto a un basso c'è un'ottava ottava di differenza. Con la 8 corde, con la 9 corde ancora peggio, ci si avvicina tantissimo all'accordatura del basso, quindi anzi tante volte il basso e la chitarra suonano esattamente la stessa nota, la stessa frequenza, e quindi quando si è in fase di mix può essere un po' un casino. Quello che Andrew consiglia è quello di rivedere anche un po' il modo in cui si scrive, si compone, si arrangia un pezzo, in modo da rendere queste cose unite insieme, senza togliere niente al basso, senza togliere niente alla chitarra, ma per valorizzare entrambi gli strumenti al meglio. It was a difficult concept to explain.
Okay.
What's your favorite tuning for 7-string? You play 7-string?
Yeah, my favorite tuning for a 7-string is drop A. The reason that I got into 7 strings was because of deathcore bands like Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, and stuff like that, as well as Trivium, who aren't deathcore, but they play B standard, and that was kind of the first time I heard stuff that was in that tuning. You know, when I started playing stuff like this when I was like 15 or something, I didn't really know what 7 strings were because I was young and they weren't nearly as popular as they are now. Well, I guess the only way to do that is to have more strings. Now, of course, you have baritones and stuff like that. And then after that, I heard After the Burial, and I was like, that's even lower. And then I just kept going on and on and on, and it never ends.
So we can tune this in drop A. Play your favorite drop A.
Okay. So, like I was saying, some of the first 7-string, not 8-string riffs that I learned, mostly deathcore bands. Like the obvious one is Suicide Silence, Unanswered. I'm probably not going to be very good at it right now because it's been a couple days, but. Very, very simple. Or Whitechapel. The song's called Possession. Like, it's nothing too crazy because there's only like 3 notes, but for whatever reason, those low notes just really interested me.
It's a percussive.
Yeah, it's more just rhythmic music is what I would say. Or the other one that always comes to mind is Chelsea Grin, My Damnation. Something like that. So those 3 are usually the 3 that come to mind for drop A 7-string riffs.
Now we can switch to the 8-string.
Sure.
I don't even know how to tune it, so that's your job.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, it was on the neck pickup. You don't want that. So something that you were mentioning earlier when I was tuning that you thought was interesting, and I've seen a few people ask about this, is sometimes the low notes are actually too low and the tuner cannot pick it up. So the way that I do it, it's not perfect, but it'll work, is I hit the 12th harmonic and then I tune with that.
Il modo migliore per accordare questa chitarra quando non si ha a disposizione un accordatore super pronto e preciso è quello di fare l'armonico al 12° tasto, perché la corda è troppo scordata, è troppo per far percepire la nota all'accordatore si fa l'armonico. Non è super preciso, soprattutto per chi come lui suona tanto forte con la mano destra, però è comunque efficace in situazioni come queste.
It's usually F sharp standard, so it'd be 7-string B standard and then you add a low F sharp. But what I use personally is drop E because I really like drop tunings. So it's just B standard and then you take the low F sharp and put it down to E. So you have 3 E's, so it's E, E, and E. It's kind of ridiculous.
I sometimes play with sort of half drop tuning, drop B flat.
Yep.
The guitar is standard, and just the 7th string is B flat. It's in between.
Yeah, that would confuse me because then all of your chords would be.
This is going to be the power chord.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, I've never seen that before. But yeah, so once you have it in, or I have it in drop E. So it's a full octave lower than a 6-string, which is where the whole like, why don't you just play a bass comes in, because that's technically the same as a 4-string bass, which is a little ridiculous, but I think it sounds cool. This is what my band Carcosa plays in. It's a fun tuning. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite riffs to play. It's from my band's song, a little shameless self-promo, called Devoid. But yeah, drop E is a lot of fun.
Let me try the 8-string,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I never played that one.
See how you like it. Some people love it, some people hate it. You get lost.
Yeah. Ok, quindi è strano suonare una chitarra a 8 corde. It's strange also for the tuning because I'm not used to hear these low notes.
Yeah, for sure. And also it's fan fret, so it looks weird.
So, I have this
the stretch.
It's super stretch, and on the 7th string it's easier, of course. I don't know if this is my thing. I'd like to do some experiments with. Yeah.
So Ibanez, send him one.
E adesso passiamo alla 9 corde, che è ancora più estrema rispetto all'8 corde, perché già la 8 corde in drop E, quindi drop Mi, ha l'8ª corda che è un'ottava sotto all'accordatura standard, mentre la 9 corde adesso ci facciamo dire com'è accordata. How do you tune the 9 strings?
It would be, so you got E standard on your top 6, and then B, and then F sharp, and then C sharp. Pretty ridiculous. It's only, what is that, 1 full step above a 5-string bass. Really, really low. Stupidly low. For this tuning, or for 9 strings, I don't usually do drop tunings just because it's already so low. If I do, I put this down to a B. So it's basically like drop B, but
that is 1 octave lower than a 7th string.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or the same as a 5-string bass, which is obviously kind of ridiculous. But for 9 strings, I do C sharp standard most of the time, just because it's already like so ridiculous as it is. And of course the strings are so thick. Like if you want to drop tune it properly, you need like this huge string. It's uncomfortable to play. The lowest I've ever gone is an A, and it's ridiculous, but it's fun. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The neck is huge.
Yeah, and I mean, as you might have noticed, for me, it doesn't matter how many strings there are. I really only use like 4 of them. So it's for me, it's mostly just to get the low notes. Yeah, baritone as well. You could also just play one of these instead, so it's a 6-string guitar, but the scale length is actually the same as the 9-string. So if you just put the bottom 6 of the 9-string on this, you could have the low ones without the 3 extra high strings, and it would be exactly the same. The reason I never did that is because, again, like I was saying, when I started being interested in this stuff, it was a long time ago when that knowledge just, nobody really knew what was going on. They were just like, I don't know, we just add strings and it sounds lower. It was only, you know, over the past like maybe 5-10 years when baritones became popular. So this would be the same thing. If you don't want that ridiculous neck or those 3 high strings, you could also just use something like this and it'd be the same thing. Right now, it's not tuned to that, but you would have to get like thicker strings and you could do that no problem.
Quindi questa è una chitarra baritona, l'abbiamo già vista sul canale, vi lascio il link qui sopra. La cosa bella è che essendo una chitarra baritona ha la scala che è la stessa della 9 corde, però ha meno corde appunto, quindi si può avere praticamente le stesse note, quelle basse della 9 corde, senza avere le corde più sottili sotto, che è praticamente la stessa cosa. I actually never played baritone guitars.
Really?
I always I'm always focused on 7 strings because I'm a rhythm, of course, on low drop A stuff. But I also need higher notes for lead, because I'm the lead guitar in band.
Makes sense.
That's not my thing, but
yeah, fair enough. If I knew what I knew now, 15 years ago, I don't think I would play 8 strings. Honestly, I probably would have done something like this.
Why are you not switching from 8 to the baritone now?
Yeah, I have the opposite problem most people have, where when you pick up an 8 string, you're like, this feels weird because it's so big. For me, when I play a 6-string, it feels weird now because I'm so used to that. That going this way, now I have the opposite problem where like this feels way too small. It feels like a toy. And also, I feel like it's maybe silly, but I'm so used to seeing myself with an 8-string that I think it looks weird when I don't have one.
Don't watch the video when
Exactly.
So Andrew, thank you for joining me in this video.
Of course.
You will be the guy for all my 8 and 9 strings video, same as last year.
Perfect, yeah, that's what I'm here for apparently.
Io ringrazio tantissimo Andrew per essere stato con me in questo video. Se vi è piaciuto, vi piacciono questi tipi di video, mi raccomando, ditemelo nei commenti, like, iscrivetevi al canale, fate tutte queste cose, guardate i link in descrizione. Ci metto le chitarre ovviamente, anche il canale di Andrew e la sua band. Andrew, if you want to say your last word to Italian people.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy low-tuned things, come check out my channel as well. You might like it. If you like some of the music I was playing, check out my band Carcosa. And of course, thank you for having me on your channel.
A big thanks.
Oh. It's so awkward. Let's do it again.